I'm so happy to have you here today, and I appreciate you for taking our time to come on board. So, before we start, I would like you to do a self introduction. That's usually what I ask my guests to do. Um, your name, where you're located, and what you do for a living. That will suffice.
Okay. Hi, Mario. How are you doing? Long time.
I'm okay.
My name is Ihoma Favor Kiwe. I am based here in Lagos. I'm based in Lagos. I work with Standard Chartered Bank. I'm a wealth operations analyst, wealth management operations analyst.
Wow, nice to have you, Homa. Let's jump right into it. Today's topic is special to me because it took me a while to be able to figure out who I'm going to assign this topic to. So so when I remembered you, I said, it's been a long time I spoke to you. So I now said, okay, let me just try and see if I will connect to you because I know that this is one topic I know that you would love. So the topic says principles versus pragmatism. So I'm going to give a little background, background to this topic. So as human beings that we are, right? We all have principles that we abide by. We all have values, rules.
Mm-hmm.
Either for friendship, for family, work ethics, religion, whatever area of our lives, we all have values. We all have principles that we try to abide by.
Mm.
So, but a time comes in our lives when those values are tested, right? So those
Uh-huh.
values that you believe in, you're faced with some challenges, situations where those values are questioned. So I think in the long run, the difference, what that means if you really abide by those principles is if you're able to maneuver your way through those circumstances without breaking those principles. So, but some people will say, oh, well, sometimes you need to bend your rules to be able to accommodate some circumstances. It doesn't really matter. And some others will tell you that I don't bend my rules. So, there are just some nuances to it. So, but I'm going to ask you today, like, do you see yourself as someone that is very principled? Do you see yourself as a very principled person?
Okay, that's a very good question. For me, I'll say that I am principled to an extent. Um, there are some values I swear by, I stand by, and I'm a strong willed person. So they are my core values that I always have to go by it. It's like my own rule book that guides me. So I can say to an extent. I'm somebody that hold principle with high value. So to an extent, I'm principled.
So, what are these values that you hold dear to, and how long have you held these principles?
Oh, okay. I have a couple. My core principle is integrity. Like being truthful, being authentic, being myself,
Yeah.
not pretending exactly. And all this is stringed along with gratitude. I'm a very grateful person and
Mm.
contentment. I feel like that's the base of my entirety because when you are content with what you have, there are some things you won't do because of greed. Because not that you're
Mhm.
satisfied. Of course, I want to drive my Bentley and Ferrari. Don't get me wrong. But I won't go out of my way to do, things that will jeopardize my values because I want to get there. I am content with what I have. I'm a very grateful person. I'm very thankful for little things. So I stand by gratitude. I appreciate people. I appreciate God most especially. And another value that drives me is empathy. So empathy means that I care for people. I genuinely care. So when I like putting myself in people's shoes, so that makes me
Yeah.
kind. That's the word, not sympathy, empathy. That makes me kind. Now, when I'm kind, I won't hurt somebody because I'm kind, because I'm like, okay, this thing I want to do to this person, if somebody does it to me, how would I feel? So that drives me.
Right.
So integrity, authenticity, contentment, empathy.
That's really good. That's really good. So, but you see, so it's good that we have. I mean, I do have a couple of principles that I abide by. For instance, I'm a very loyal person. So if I'm loyal to friendship, I'm loyal to family. That's
Mm,
one thing I'm very, very sure, like I can speak of, off of my head, that yeah, I'm very loyal. Like when I'm down with you. So,
mm,
you know, but sometimes, right,
mhm,
we are faced with some difficult situations. Now, you've mentioned that you are very empathetic, that you have integrity.
mm.
Have you ever been in a situation where you're faced with a challenge that questioned what you believe in? For instance, let me give you an example. So, if for instance, um, you've mentioned empathy, and someone knows that you are a good person, you're a kind person, you have a good heart, and they often take advantage of you. They often like try to take advantage of you. When something happens, just want to use you. I'll use that word, use you. So
Mm.
do you keep extending hands of friendship and the olive branch to someone who hurts you by trying to always take advantage of you, knowing that you're the kind person, knowing that if push comes to shove, you're going to lay low. You're always showing up for your friends. You're always empathetic, so I can do whatever I have to do and get away with it. So in that situation, I would say that's something challenging what you believe in. So what do
Mhm.
you do in that circumstance?
Okay, okay. So the word I would use is boundaries. I know how to set the boundary. And my friends, they joke about it. I call myself control block. You know how you say control delete, control block? Like, I love my peace. I value my peace. So if I know you're going to come into
Yeah.
my life and take care of my peace of mind, or you're going to use me, I know the thing about kind people, we can give all. So I've had a couple of people that come because of what because she's generous, she'd give me this, and they come, and I know that's why they're coming for friendship. So, and if
Yeah.
I see that you're taking advantage of me, I cut you off. It's not that hard. Like you said, I like what you said about loyalty. I'm also a very loyal person. I've had my best
Yeah.
friend 15 years. We're still friends. I don't. Of course, you know me. I don't make lots of friends to start with. So I'm a
Yeah,
very
yeah.
close
That
shell.
I know. That I
You
know.
know, I'm a very close shell. So before I let you into my space, I'll have to make sure that okay, our values align. So if I know you're coming to take advantage of me, I'm not going to stay and let you step on me. I'll pull back. I'll just go. Like, I'll just cut you off. That's not hard. I mean, I won't stay there and be suffering and let you take advantage of me. Nah.
So let's take it a bit further. How about like maybe in your workspace or even your personal experiences like with friends or family? So because integrity is something that is very, very, very deep. Integrity is
Mm.
something that, how will I explain it? It's like a hard currency, right?
That
And
is.
it's hard. It's hard when you have to stand by what you believe, especially when you're faced with a challenge. Now, I don't know if you have been in that situation where you have to question your integrity in terms of probably your workplace or something that will suggest that, oh, that this is against my belief. I'm going to give you an instance. So someone I was watching a video some time ago, and I this person was saying that he was um he was asked to do an advert for a company. It's supposed to be like an alcoholic advertisements, right? So, and this is like many years ago, and there's so much money involved. Like, there's so much money involved, about millions of naira in those years, like those years. So the deal is it's supposed to be like maybe 2 minutes ad, and he was supposed to like have a sip of the drink. But then he told himself that I don't like alcohol. I do not want to take alcohol. And so he told them, is there any way we can use a similar drink that has the same color of this particular drink company that this particular product that I have to advertise? They say, oh no, that you have to sip the drink, you have to make it real and other stuff. Anyway, to cut the long story short, he rejected the offer. It was a
Mm-hmm.
huge sum. The guy was being interviewed, and when he said it, those guys around him they were like, "Are you serious? You rejected XYZ amount of money because you didn't want to sip alcohol?" So at that point, I felt that someone looking in from outside will
Mm.
feel that, oh, this guy is he's too rigid, or he's not smart, or whatever. So but at that point I feel that he he tried to keep his words, right? Tried to keep his words. So, but have you been in a situation where your integrity is challenged?
So like several times, I can't even count several times, but there's
Yeah,
one that stuck me because it really hurts me. I also stand by modesty. You also know, I'm not comfortable with. I'm not saying
yeah,
people that they are wrong. Everybody have how they express their individualism, but for me, I like being modest. I like being covered up, and there are some certain things, outfits I
yeah,
can't wear. I can't open my cleavage and all that. I wouldn't be comfortable, to be honest. That's how, maybe because of the way my mom
yeah,
trained me. I grew up with
yeah.
it. So now, I can sing,
Right.
right? Now this guy comes to me, oh yada yada, I want you to sing
Yeah,
with me. But like you also have to be a video vixen. Of course, for you to get what's it called, traction, get traffic, you have to look a certain way.
the views.
I'm
Yes,
like,
yes,
okay, first of all,
yeah,
my identity is Christ. I'm born again. I can't take that away from me. That comes first before everything. And I'm like, also my
right.
Christian values. There are some things I can't. Even though the money is juicy, but is there no way that we can? I don't have to do all those things. I said no. You have to. You know what? I backed out because another time I needed money. So would you say I was dumb? No, I have the value, and I always say something that our decisions, our actions are based on our values. It's your value that drives you, really.
Right.
There are things you can't do because, oh, I can't do this. This is my value. So that's so I those are my values. I can't relent on. I can't go back and did it hurt me? And there are several times. I mean, uh there are times that I've been in that position. I'm like, God, should I just do? I cannot do this. But yeah, so several times I can't even count. But this one is the one that I remember.
Yeah. I understand what you just said, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and it's so amazing how people deal with things differently, right? So
Mm-hmm.
say a family that's a Christian family that they have good values and all that stuff, probably like maybe father dies, mom is out of job, kids are there, tuition unpaid, feeding, and every other thing that needs to keep the family running. And
Mm-hmm.
at that point, they are almost at the brink of giving up to whatever thing they believe. So when people go overboard, they want to do everything they want to do to be able to provide for their family. Would you judge or blame a man or a woman who goes all out, even like you know as far as breaking the rules that they believe in to be able to provide for the family?
Mm-hmm.
Because these are real life situations where we face
Mm-hmm.
things, right? So
Mm-hmm.
i'm going to I'm going to put this situation, yeah, side by side with the fact that to ask, do you think that there's a time when we can shelve our principle, shelve our belief, shelve off what we stand by, our rules, our values, to be able to please our loved ones, to be able to provide or take care
Mm-hmm.
of a situation?
Huh. Okay, so I'll say wisdom is very important. Application of wisdom is key. And then in the context, depends on the context. And I'll give you a backup story. But first of all, I'll use the To Kill a Monkey. I love that movie so much. I'll use it as an example. Efe was a good man, right?
Yeah.
He didn't want to go that route, but it was hard for him. I mean, he tried everything. His wife had just given birth. He had just lost his child. It was so hard for him. He had to bend his rules, right? At that time, I'm not going to blame him because he couldn't bear. There's a limit somebody can bear. And like I always say that, I always tell people that I don't say never, and it can never be me. Even though I'm a very principled person, you never hear me say it can never be me because I don't know. I can only pray that
Mm,
not to be in that situation. Nobody knows tomorrow. I can only pray. And like I always bring my perspective from a Christian angle. I said, God, don't give me temptation that is bigger than me that I cannot bear. Because there are things that
right.
happen to you, or you won't be able to hold it. And now, why I said application of wisdom, I've always been a very rigid person. In fact, now I'm really flexible. Growing up, my role model was Peter Doce. Don't judge me. When I was in secondary school, how? Because I believe if I say yes, yes, I'm not going back. And that's even why I studied law. So one time I was a prefect, right? And we do this thing, vernacular fee. Like if you speak vernacular in my secondary school, outside the vernacular class, you pay a fine, right?
Yes.
And I was the one I
Yes.
was the
Yeah.
one
We all did that.
treasurer. Yeah, I was the treasurer. I was the one keeping the money. And then of course, I told my mom everything. My mom knew that I had that money in the house, and I always have my little savings in all those color box. So one day, I called my mom. I'm like,
Yeah.
we need something urgently in the house. Do you get? And my mom's like, okay, you can use your money. I'll give you back when I come back from work. I said, Mom, I don't have any money. The only money I have on me is this one from the school. My mom said, yes, you can just buy from there. I'll give you back. I said, no. Do you know, Mayor, I didn't take that money. I needed the thing urgently and it was time bound. I didn't touch it. I said, Mom,
Wow.
I'm not going to touch this money. It doesn't belong to me. And my mom couldn't make sense. I'm not saying take it. It's not like I travel. Oh no, looking at it now, it was stupid. Looking at it now, like no, 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 no. No, what was I thinking? Because for real. So if somebody was in health medical emergency, would I have said no? Would I not still take this
Yes.
money and save a life? And I'm still going to replace it. It's going to be a different thing if okay, I didn't replace it. That would mean I stole or embezzled. And this is
Yes.
my mom. I should have trust for. She's not running away. We're in the same house. She's the one that feeds me, and she's telling me, "Buy this thing, I'll give you back." But no. Oh, I'm principled. I have to go by the that's rigidity. So that's why I said wisdom. Did I apply wisdom at that time? Because looking back, I was naive. That's naivety. Did I apply wisdom at that time? No. Will I do it now? No. No, I won't do that again. So there are circumstances, it differs that you can tweak your. Do you get? It's not like breaking your rules, breaking your but there are times that you have to be flexible a bit. Because this one that happened, it didn't make sense to
Yes.
be honest. It didn't make sense.
Yeah. So, and I also think that everything, how we react or how people respond to those circumstances depends on at the time, like what happens, what's going on at the time. It depends
Uh-huh.
on the situation at hand, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's case by case basis. So there's no one size fits all in this matter, right? Now you've
Uh-huh.
talked about money, so trying not to use other people's money because it's not yours, to be able to
Yeah,
get your own
yeah,
needs at the
yeah.
time. Now we also have people that have been faced with situations that has to do with probably sleeping with somebody, or
Mm,
even like going contrary to their very very core beliefs. Do you understand? So
mm,
and then maybe it's a question of life and death, and they would rather allow the person who, or they would rather die
mm,
than doing that thing. So I want to
mm.
believe that there is something that you cannot do no matter what you are faced with.
Okay, so I'll give an example, right? Um, so one time, I think it was it fresh out of uni on my undergraduate days. So but this man, I just met him on then when we were on Facebook. Hello, hi. He's kind of a family friend, and this man comes. Oh, I'll take you to the US. I know then visa was easy to get, 2 weeks and nobody will know, right? It's
Yeah.
cool. And I no, and I told my male cousin, Melo, my male relative, I said, go now, that girl, sir. I said I can't. And that time I was broke. I said, devil, you're a liar. I was broke. Like when you say broke, I was like, I can't do this thing. I, I was like, God, this is not, of course, I know I'll travel around the world, but this is not how I will. And then my cousin was like, you're too rigid, you have boyfriend, you won't have, this is why you're too. But that time I stood by what I believed. And so I'm going to say it now because the reason why I'm not going to do some things is because I have a trust relationship with my father, which is God. I don't believe there's nothing he cannot give me. So it's also and God has
Yeah.
tested me in different ways. And when you so let me tell you something. When you believe something, when you value something, or when devil will tempt you in the area of your values, or God will test you in the area. If you say, "Oh, I'm a loyal person," your loyalty will be tested. So because this is my own
Oh yeah.
value, of
Yeah.
course I had
That's
a lot
true.
of and I told God that see, I am going to get all these things. I am going to now. Of course, you know I've traveled. I've been traveling, and God has been faithful. And God
Yeah.
gave me a job. All the things that I could have gone, and God still gave them to me. But it wasn't at that time I wanted
Right.
it. fast forward years later. So I even now there are some things that I'm like, okay, God, I'm going to reference what happened before, and because I held on to you, I waited on you. You still gave it to me. So that's still what I apply now. So for me, it's mainly from the Christian, from the godly perspective, believing in God that I would never lack. I mean, I'm His baby. He always still
Right.
give me that I should compromise to get, but it might not be at that time, but I know it will definitely come. So that I don't know, that's my own perspective. And then to be honest, there are lots of personal experiences that I can't really share, but I've been tested a lot of times, and I know you too. I mean, everybody have been tested one way or the other.
Yeah. You mentioned a very nice point when you talked about being tested for what you believe in. And that is
Mm-hmm.
so true. So because even for myself, I wouldn't say that my loyalty hasn't been tested. In fact, I feel like I failed a couple of times on it, you know.
Exactly.
But that doesn't mean that when you believe in something or you fail at it, and then that means you're no longer a believer of that thing.
No, no,
So
no.
yes, I do not think that when you fail at something, it doesn't mean that you're no longer fit, to believe
Sure,
in that thing, right? That's what I
sure.
believe. So yeah,
Mm.
because being tested for something is definitely. I mean, life will throw it at you. There'll
Mm-hmm.
be a time when you would have to defend what you believe in, whether your
Yeah,
loyalty, your
exactly.
integrity, whatever value it is. And you know what I always say to myself first before I say to people, if you make a commitment, one thing that's going to help you keep that commitment is if you have a reason attached to that commitment.
Mm.
So if there's a reason attached to the commitment, you will realize that once you remember that I don't want to go contrary to this, why? That why is always the reason you wouldn't
Mm.
go. That's what's going to keep you in check. So if there is no commitment, if there is no why behind what you're doing, it just feels like there's no foundation to it. So there is no. So when people say we live by when we make a decision, when we make decisions, we live by them. So, but the proper thing is when you make decisions, you live by the consequences, right?
Mm.
So the consequence of your decisions is what we live by. And
Mm.
for every decision you make, whether good or bad, there is always a consequence. So I feel
Mm.
that when we first of all think about the consequence of our decisions before we even decide, that's what helps us,
Mm.
and say, okay, if I do this, what is going to be the consequences? This is what it's going to
Mhm.
be. So, and this is
Mhm.
the reason I do not want to do this. So in the
Mm.
long run, once you keep staying at your why, that is what will give you the foundation to keep at what you have committed to do. If
Mm.
not, it's going to be hard for you to
Mhm.
to keep. I mean, I learned this
Yeah.
thing like probably like a few years ago. It hasn't been long. So
Same here.
that was what I mean personally for myself. I know that you can
Mm.
make the commitment and go back on it, and then you discover
Mhm.
that you forgot the reason you actually started the
Mm.
commitment in the first place. That is true.
Mm. One time we had discussion. I mentioned this thing to you about consequences. That's what I'm very cautious about consequences. Like
Yes.
we studied law, and in criminal litigation, all those cases where, like, was it DPP versus state, where somebody slapped somebody, he fell and died. So now for me, anything physical fight, I like to avoid
Yeah.
it. I don't know, because when we visited Kuje prison in Abuja, like a lot of innocent people, it was an accident. They were charged for
Yeah.
manslaughter, and I'm like, why do you think that you can't be in that situation if you don't avoid some things? If you're quick to throw punches, somebody you might just slap somebody, they fall and die. So I tried to that physical because the thing was so it was traumatic for me the day we went to that prison. So I have PTSD. So if even if I'm angry, no, I don't want anything physical because I don't know the one that I'll now maybe use something and hit you, now die, you'll now charge me for manslaughter, murder, whatever. Like so I think I'll be so when I see people think, hey, like that be coming down, no, you don't know. So like for me, I think of consequences. Before I do something, so I'm like, what would this result to? What will I pay daily for it? So.
Now, but do you think that there's a difference between compromising and betraying oneself?
I would think that they are not completely the same because I feel like compromise is you reaching an agreement or agreeing to something that you probably not would have agreed or just for maybe peace sake or to reach a solution, to get a solution. But self betrayal is you now placing
Yes.
people's above your own needs, or placing people above you. That's you betraying yourself. So I feel like they're not really the same.
Yeah, that's really a good comparison you did there, because honestly, I'm beginning to see from your perspective too. But then some others might say, oh, if you compromise on something, so let's even look at it from the English meaning, the plain meaning of compromise, right? I mean,
Mm,
I know that compromise also means trying to, shift boundaries and shift ground to be able to accommodate others. And compromise
uh-huh,
can also mean going against what you believe, which is,
mm,
that.
mm,
So, but don't you think that that can also mean that you are betraying yourself by going contrary to what you've always believed in? So, using the example I cited the first time about the
it,
person that was um the person that was asked to sip alcohol in the advertisements,
uh-huh,
in the ad, right? And
uh-huh,
he said no. So at that point, he was trying to protect himself. He was trying to protect himself from self betrayal. So by not compromising, I mean, that's my own idea, right, about it. But not saying
mm,
that you're wrong. You're also right. I'm
mm,
only saying that it has different compartments
exactly.
that we can actually
and,
accommodate.
and it
That
depends on the
yes,
context, right? So when I say compromise, if we're seeking
yeah,
for a solution and it's something that won't harm me, we can compromise on it to suit the both of us. What
right,
will I
yes,
example? Okay, I see, for instance, I don't like bright lights because my eyes are sensitive to light. I'm not with my glasses here, but now for this recording to be clear, I need to turn on all my lights. It's me compromising on, okay, usually I'll turn off all the lights.
right,
But I need this recording to be sharp and bright, I have to turn
mm,
it on. So it's a compromise to suit both of us at this point. Do you get? So it's not, I won't say it's self betrayal,
yeah,
because few minutes of this light, even though it's hurting, but it's not going to kill me. Do you get? So that's why I said it depends on the context.
absolutely,
Depends on the scenario.
yes, yeah. That's the truth. So, have you heard of the saying that you have to play the game to win? So, or
Mm-hmm.
do you agree with that saying? Totally.
Okay, so mm, now integrity and intelligence, they coexist. There are some places where intelligence is important, but I don't believe in playing games, right? If you remember what I mentioned earlier, be authentic. I mean, it's even less, it's stress free being yourself. Playing games is hard. You have to think out of the
Right.
box. And then, if you must be a game player, be a good one. Because I tell you, as you're playing
Right.
games, people are playing games too. You're not the only one. So it's a let the best man win. So why not be yourself? Do you get? But there are instances where you have to
Yeah.
apply them. Fine. But you now being corny tricky because you want to play games and override people and play smart all the time. I don't That can take you up faster, but it might not sustain you. But if you are
Right.
yourself, it might be slower, but it will sustain you because why? You are your original self, and you can always be yourself anytime. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't believe. I don't. For me, I don't buy it. Playing games.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. That sometimes I would liken this saying to, if you can't beat them, you join them. Saying that you have to play the game to win. So
Mm,
if, for instance, um you are in a situation where you have to also compromise, really also drop your values to be able to play the game that people are playing or other people are playing, to be able to win.
mm,
Sometimes people can say is being smart,
mm,
is also being smart. So sometimes you can say, okay, if I even if I'm not I can play I can play a fool and get what I want, even if it means that I'm going to compromise on my values. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So
mhm,
it could really go either way. It could really go either way, right? Either people are saying, oh yes, that's being smart, or if you say, oh no, I disagree, that's not being smart. Because
mm.
sometimes, depending on the context, depending on
Exactly.
the
It's only
context,
because, yeah. It's not one
yes,
size fits all. It
depending on the
depends on
context. It's not,
exactly.
yeah, I definitely feel that it's not one size fits all.
Not
There
one
is
size. For me,
always,
People are
it
caught.
can't, yeah. And that's why I wouldn't judge someone. Well, I'm saying this thing now because I know better, right? Maybe many years ago, I would be the person that would judge someone because of their choices. I'll be the one to judge someone because of their decisions. But you never know what it feels like until you are in that situation, right? And and that's why we are humans. We must constantly make the choice, to be able to put ourselves in situations where we are not yet, to be able to have a feel of what it could be for us, instead of going all out to judge people. So, and then a lot is going on social media, outside our world. You discover that it's a lot. You judge people for what they do too quickly, and you don't know the backside of the story until you hear the other side. Just like we're taught in law, you have to, like, those two principles of justice, right?
Yeah,
Um,
that
you
the
cannot be a
consent,
judge in your own
all the
cause, and
authorized
then
by
you have to hear the other
them.
side. Hearing the other side, yes, hearing the other side is a principle that it's not just a legal principle. It's not just a principle that's a law principle. It's a life principle. It's a life principle, because it helps you a lot to be able to see other people the way you see yourself. It helps you to put yourself in someone else's position, to be able to feel what they feel before you pass a judgment on them. And to be very honest, learning this thing, not just as a legal principle but as a life principle, has helped me a lot. It has helped me a lot. And I feel like that's what every like people should actually, you know use as
So
their everyday using in their everyday life. Yeah,
yeah, so I'll
go ahead.
say, remember I had, and okay, so let me point back to the game thing. So the context I was coming from is, if you're going to play people down to go there, to rise up, if it's that's the context I was
Yeah.
coming from ahead. So I've cleared that one. Now I
Oh
feel
yeah.
like a lot of people are
Yeah.
not empathic. Remember I said one of my values is empathy, right? A lot of people are
Yeah.
sympathetic,
Yeah.
not empathic. So if something happens to you, chai, hey yeah, chai. And that hey yeah and chai is probably not even from the heart. It's just okay, okay, sorry.
Right.
But empathy is, I do a lot of imagination, right? Um one
Mm.
Sometimes I close my eye and I try to walk around to see how, if I was blind, I like would I so it makes me more kind to people that are in that condition. And so if you tell me something about
Mm.
you, oh
Mm.
okay, like when I lost my mom, right, it really hits me hard. It really hits me hard. And one of my relatives was like, it's okay now, it's 2 years now, God gives, God takes, it's okay, she's happy. I said, that's not the right thing to tell somebody that is grieving. You've not lost anybody before. But I kept quiet. Now when she lost her mom,
Right.
she like, Ihoma, in fact, how did you survive? How? I can't. And this person is way older than me. My mom died at 43, so you can imagine, very young, few years back, because she married early. Now her own mom is even like maybe in 60s, and she's like, she can't even get over it. How did you? If we learn to be more empathic, it hasn't happened to you. Empathy is you walking in somebody's shoes. Now I don't expect you to feel the shoes you've not
Right.
walked, but at least try to put yourself. Something happened to Mayor, you tell me, I sprained my ankle. I imagine if I'm the one that sprained this ankle, will I be able to walk freely? It will make me be kind to you, that okay, so that sorry will now be from my heart, not just sorry, you'll be fine. So a lot of people don't have empathy. And it's common with we Nigerians, we are special people. We have sympathy. You can say hey, yeah, because it's lack of empathy that make people say a lot of horrible things to you. You see somebody believing, there's this, okay, I'm going to mention her, this Diary of a Kitchen Lover. I love food blogs a lot. Do you know that she waited on God for a child
Yeah.
for 8 while she was waiting? She's a very neat person and organized. Guess what? Somebody came to the comment section and said, the reason why you are clean and organized is because you don't have a child yet. How can you say that to somebody that's been waiting on God for a child?
Oh,
Yes.
really?
Yes. So people are mean because they don't have empathy.
Oh
Because
my
she probably
God.
married, she probably has kids. She thinks, oh, okay. Have you ever? Do you know what it feels like waiting on? Of course, I know there's something you're probably waiting on God for. and you're like God, and you've been waiting. It's not so.
Right.
I'm not in that situation, but I don't need to say vile things. I don't even need to be in that situation to be kind to somebody there. So this thing you said is very important. Empathy is very, very important. You can't even like, it's very important. And I wish more people have
It
empathy than
is. It
empathy.
is. Then honestly, if we do better, we can actually become better human beings. If we keep doing
Mm-hmm,
like living our lives trying to put ourselves in situations of others,
mm-hmm,
it makes a whole lot of difference.
mm-hmm,
And then it reminds me of someone that I love so much and I respect him so much. He said something. He said he was talking about people that are highly principled. People that are highly principled, people that hold their values in high esteem. Some people actually are so time conscious. For instance, have you ever met someone that is so time conscious that if you don't show up the time they ask you to show up is a problem? Like they're going to move heaven and earth like down on you.
mm-hmm,
So the man he was using that scenario as an example to say that if for instance you show up in a place, maybe you have an appointment with somebody, and then the person maybe comes like a minute or 2 minutes late, and then you shut down the whole thing just because the person came late by those few minutes. So there should be like a compromise,
mm-hmm.
because sometimes you don't know what the person had to go through to get there. You don't know what happened.
Exactly.
Sometimes you don't know the back end. Yes. So
Maybe there was
in
Lagos
as much
traffic.
So and this is just not just about time, being time conscious. It applies to every area of our lives. So
Mm,
in as much as
mm,
we love to be principled, in as much as we hold our values dear to our hearts,
mhm,
in as much as we appear to be people, to other people, like we have already built a kind of image, about who we are. There should
mhm,
be a time that
mhm,
will leave a room for compromise. Will leave a room for compromise.
mhm.
Now,
Yeah, sure.
if I'm to relate it with our work with God as Christians, it's just like God giving us grace. And when somebody does something to you, you don't forgive the
Mm-hmm.
person, or you forgive the person. So every day, sometimes when I'm
Exactly.
praying and I'm asking God that, let me see others the way you see them, because the only reason you treat people the way you
Mm-hmm.
treat them is because you do not see them the way God sees them. And it makes a lot of difference.
Mm. Very
It's going to
profound.
make you see
Very
see their
profound.
frailties.
Yeah.
It's going to make you see their humanity, right?
Mm.
You're not just seeing someone that is
And
uptight.
there's
You're
room
not
for
just seeing
second
someone that
chance.
that has everything together. You're going to see their humanity. So just so that if they fail tomorrow, there is a room for
Mm-hmm.
forgiveness. There is room for mercy. There is room to accommodate them and
Exactly.
everything. So it's
Because you're
very
not even
important.
perfect. Because you're not
Yes.
perfect. So
Oh, of
nobody is
course, no
perfect.
perfection.
And
Yeah,
so for me
yeah,
now, growing now, I gave you a scenario about the when my mom said I should buy something, I said no. So is the compromise a harmful compromise? If it's not a harmful compromise, why not? If it's not something that would be harmful to you or the other, because in that situation it was
yeah.
not wise. It wasn't going to hurt anybody, but principle. So it's to apply wisdom. You know, I was just thinking about it and I'm like, what kind of
Yes.
I didn't, and who knows how may her soul rest? Who knows how my mom felt at that time? Because she'll be like, what kind of child is this? Because you know. So yeah, if
I
it's
bet
not a
she
harmful
might have been
compromise, why?
proud of you. She might have been proud of you at the time. Yeah, I would
But
believe that
it was
she might have been proud of you at the time to say that, oh, I have a daughter that's, yeah, but she'll be like, this is way too much or something like that.
exactly.
Okay. So but would you rather be like would you rather be known as a person of unshakable integrity, or someone who
Mm-hmm.
knows how to play smart in tough situations?
Hmm. So like I said, it depends on the context. Integrity is generally more desirable. Why playing smart will help you navigate
Mm,
challenges in a tough
mm,
situation.
yeah,
You so that's why I said it depends on context, the situation. I'll know when to play smart, okay, and I'll know when to have hold my integrity. But that doesn't mean I'm going to compromise. Like I said, all these things we've been saying is not a one size fits all. Okay, it has to be. There are
right.
different scenarios. And so for me, it's
Yes.
just apply wisdom. Intelligence is very key.
Okay. Yeah.
Like that one, I'll keep referring to that thing. That was not me being intelligent.
so if you had to like pick out one of your values to, let's say for instance, if you had to bend one of your personal values
Mm-hmm.
to save someone you love, which one would it be?
Save. This question is hard, though, because save somebody in what context? Save. Say that they are
It
drowning,
could be
and you say
anything.
kill this person, or I don't know really.
What? Are you
When I
kidding me?
get that bridge, I'll cross it. To be honest, I
You
can't
don't have an
think
answer
of
to that
any.
question, right?
I don't want to be like Efe. I don't want to be like Efe. That last show didn't shake it. Even to the point that he saw wood inside his laptop bag. Really?
Oh no, that was like the craziest part of that movie, right? Well, I I
Oh
understand.
my
Yeah, I
goodness.
understand if you don't have an answer to that question. I do, because it would, if you have an answer to the question right now, it will mean that maybe that's all that it is, because it could be much more. It could be much more. It could be more than what you
Mm-hmm.
are saying. That. So
Could
depending,
be
so
much more.
yes, it could be much
Yeah.
more. It could be less. So I feel that it depends on what happens, or what the context is, and where you are at the moment. Because just like you explained,
Mm-hmm.
what you did in the past and now you think is stupid, right? So if that thing should repeat itself right now,
Mm-hmm.
you won't take that route. Do you understand? You would go ahead and do what you have to do, knowing that it's not going to hurt anyone, knowing that it's not going to hurt you or make you even go contrary to what you believe in. That's really a smart choice of not answering the question. So, but to wrap it up, like, what's one biggest lesson you've learned, like, about balancing principles with reality?
For me, I've learned that everybody have different values. We cannot have the same
Yeah.
values. Like you said, somebody keeping to time. I might not be as punctual
Mm-hmm.
as the person. So I won't expect you to be like me. Do you get? Okay, yeah, my value is modesty. I might not want to show skin, but your own, you might not really care about that. I mean, it's just skin. So I'm not going to want to put you in my box. Oh, you must cover up, you must, or you must what's it called? Empathy. There are people that cholerics naturally, they're not empathic people. You can't force them to have empathy. That's them. Do
Yeah.
you get? So I won't expect you to. Of course, it should be a general value. Be kind, but everybody cannot be kind. That's the truth. So the biggest lesson I've learned is that I am me. You are you. Your principles cannot be, might not, doesn't have to be the same as mine. Mine doesn't have
Mm.
to be the same as yours, and that's why the world is beautiful. We all have our uniqueness, peculiarity, unity in diversity. Everybody, you're this, you're that. If everybody is kind, the world will be too, if everybody is quiet, the world will be boring. If everybody is loud, the world will be chaotic. So that's why there
Are
has
you
to be
serious?
balance. Your
Are you saying that?
principle, your morals
Yeah.
differ. So I've learned that
Are you saying that if everyone is kind, the world will not be a good place? Is that what you're trying to say?
it's not what I'm really saying, but
Okay.
it's not
Yeah. It's not.
realistic.
Yeah. I
Everybody
think I.
cannot be kind.
Yeah. It's not realistic indeed. It's
The
not
devil is
realistic.
not
Yeah.
kind. So me now, I'm trying to be more realistic. I
Oh
know that
yeah.
this thing can everybody cannot be honest. That's everybody. Like, okay, let me give you an example. And cases where somebody picks up money and they return it. Come to comment section. You see people literally say, "Guy,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
fool, oh. You pick this kind of
Yes.
money. You know, no said God don't butter your bread. Why are you giving it back?" Do you get? Now you that your honesty is your moral. You'll be like, so see the world through the lens of accommodating other people's excesses. You're not me too. Okay, this punctuality time. I'm not a late comer per se, but I'm not that punctual person that will say, oh, it must be 500 dots. I can't do it. You get? So it depends on So I don't expect everybody to have the same value that I have. But yeah, when our values are combined, but there are people that have values, but it's not actually good values. But yeah, so that's it.
Yeah. That's so true. When you talk about this time thing, I consider myself as a very time conscious person, right? And I know that sometimes I really get angry when maybe I'm dealing with somebody and the person doesn't show up. It gets to me. So, but But I realized that I could, I have control of my time, right? So when I want to meet up with something, I try to start early to be able to make room for the time that I want to achieve something, right? So if someone else I'm doing that with does not do something like that to be able to meet me at that point where we have to do that thing at that point, it makes, I mean, I feel like, oh, the person does not really is not time conscious and everything. So but I realized that, just like you said, everybody's not the same. Our values are different. Our strengths are also different. Someone can have the strength of keeping time. Another person can have the strength of going the long haul, of doing something else that you are not able to. So we should not we should not put our values we should not hold our values over other people's weaknesses. I don't know if you understand. We should not hold our strong values over other people's weak values. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Just so that would also help us to, yes, create a balance, in our relationship, in every area of our lives. I think it makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the time. Thank you for coming for this podcast. Thank you so much. I thank you for your insights. You really, really brought you really, really brought some very deep insights in this whole discussion, and I really appreciate your time. And I hope to have you back sometime in the future. To be able to discuss more things. So thank you so much.